Defend Our Democracy is picketing outside the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital today. It's calling for the hospital to be returned to full service urgently. The alliance also wants those implicated in corruption prosecuted. So let's get more now from Neeshan Balton from the group. Neeshan, thank you so much for your time this morning. Talk to us. Defend Our Democracy. What is it planning to do exactly today? And how exactly are you hoping that the protest will be effective?
No, good morning. We will gather at the hospital at Jubilee Road at 11 o'clock. As you indicated, the idea is to highlight that the repairs of this hospital needs to be speeded up. Allegations of corruption that have surfaced in the last week around issues of procurement need to be investigated as a matter of urgency. I think it was extremely worrying to hear that this particular function was moved from the infrastructure department to the health department without, I think, adequate explanation of why that in fact was the case, other than the failure to procure the specific doors, the fire doors from relevant and service providers who would have provided these doors without needing to do any other further infrastructure work. So it seems as if the procurement has been messed up. It seems as if, according to the recent articles, there might well be ongoing acts of corruption that has further delayed. Fundamentally, the lack of transparency around the cause of the fire is also of great concern. This fire started on the 16th of April 2021. To date, the investigative reports on the cause of the fire have not been made. So essentially what we have now is almost 2,000 parking bays that have been damaged, 9 wards, including the infectious disease, pulmonology, renal failure, and so forth, 3 critical ICU units that are non-functioning. And this has led to hundreds, if not many thousands of patients who use this hospital to be severely disadvantaged, and others who needed urgent surgery to be on much more prolonged waiting lists. Yeah. The call is for transparency and for collaboration with civil society in terms of oversight over the repair work that needs to be made.
Yeah. Neeshan, clarify a little bit some of your demands here. You're saying you're calling for the fixing and opening of all units by the end of the year, that is 2022. Safety for staff. You're looking at the task team to monitor the progress of repairs, budgets and procurement processes, and the deployments of extra staff to surrounding overburdened hospitals. Now, we saw during the press conference happening on Friday that they are earmarking for the completion of the repair work to be done on Charlotte Maxeke by the end of 2023. Are you saying it's not good enough? Have it by the end of 2022? And what is going to be done to ensure that pressure is put for them to actually, meet those demands of 2022?
Well, without knowing, firstly, the full causes of the fire, without knowing the procurement plan, and without knowing whether the service providers that are going to be appointed, that they have the full ability and background to do this work, we can only therefore assume that the dates that have been provided are ones that are based on unknown details that government has used. I think once it provides that kind of detail, we would be able to talk about the time frames. The time frames that the campaign has put out is really what we think might well be possible if the right service providers are put in place, if the right management is put in place to oversee these repair works. And these timeframes, I think, comes from having discussions with a number of the people who work at the hospital themselves who think that it could be done.
In this instance, I mean, you're talking here about having, civil society join you in this protest, demanding for government to speed up the process of opening or reopening the Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital, those that have been implicated to finally find themselves in orange overalls. Do you think government will listen?
I think government must be forced to listen. If it doesn't want to collaborate, I think legal action and other forms of pressure will have to be pursued by civil society from this campaign and others who have shown interest. But I'm sure that Premier Mapura would most likely begin to give more details on this issue as he plans to open to deliver the provincial state of the state of the province address tomorrow.
So, in wrapping, I mean, how do we as society basically get behind you? Does that mean we join in the protest? And after the protest, right, once the protest has been completed and concluded, what's the next step? Because it's one thing to protest, but it's another thing to have those factors that are around, as well as those processes that are around, to ensure that accountability, as you're calling for accountability, actually gets realized.
Well, I think we will hand over the contents of this memorandum to provincial government today. We would get their response, and on the basis of their response, this campaign and others associated with it will determine the next steps. Those next steps could very well be greater public mobilization and as well possible legal action should that be required. But we will explore all options, including going to the provincial legislature, the National Health Department, or even Parliament itself to enhance the inquiries that are needed to help speed up the repair work and the transparency that's required around Charlotte Maxeke.
We'll leave it there. Neeshan Balton there from Defend Our Democracy, saying that they'll be protesting today, I think at about 11 o'clock, just to perhaps swing government's hand, provincial government that is, for the completion of the Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital. They're saying that that hospital needs to be repaired by the end of 2022 and not by the end of 2023, as provincial health department would have suggested. While